Hey everybody, it's Dan with Pain For You. Today I want to talk about the movie theater in your mind. And I've touched on this a number of times, but I figured I'd just do a dedicated video here. And as it relates to the movie theater in our mind, we've got these incredible things called memories and imaginations. And I like to akin these to, different shows showing at the movie theater. And so the past could have a series of different movies that we go back and we look at. The future is a series of movies that we can go and view. And when we look at the past, it doesn't really exist beyond memories in our mind. And these memories are not factual. These are memories of what we think and perceive happened. May not even be accurate. The future, it's completely imaginary. We can either imagine a future full of despair, hopelessness, more trauma, more suffering, or we can imagine and create, therefore in our mind, a future full of positive things, lots of love, laughs, smiles, good outcomes in everything from personal relationships to professional success to a long, healthy life, right? The future is nothing more than our imagination. And the past is nothing more than our memories. And I will encourage you to start to look at your past traumas as nothing more than memories. They're real. They happened. I'm not debating that. I'm not minimizing that in any way, shape, or form. But if every time you remember through the use of this amazing memory system that we've got, if every time you remember something that happened to you in the past that was less than ideal, horrible, traumatic, if every time you do that you get very upset, you get sad, you get angry, you get despondent, it brings up all of the thoughts of I'm not good enough or I'm a bad person. If every time you do that, I guess I'll challenge you to say, why do you keep doing that? And many people will say, well, that's just where my brain goes. Yeah, it's a habit of thought. And like any habit, we can form new habits. So as it relates to the movie theater in our mind, the habit of going back to old, traumatic, bad memories is like walking into the movie theater that's got 12 shows playing and only realizing or only believing there's one movie to watch. And that movie's called, in my case, Dan's Screwed Up Past. Right? And every time I go and watch that movie or recall that memory, I feel bad. Then how much do you think that is helping me to live a fulfilling future? How much do you think constantly revisiting that memory will help me or hurt my ability to create an imaginative future that has a lot of joy, purpose, meaning, smiles, laughter, friendship, connection? Right? Because if all we're doing is staying stuck in the bad memories of the past, really gets hard to be able to portray a vision of the future that is any much different than the past. These are habits. These are things that have become familiar to us. And these memories can either serve us or hold us down. Which ones are you going to choose to watch? If you're going back into the movie theater and you want to watch something about your past, how about you look for the fun times, the good times, reminisce over the good experiences, whether that be with friends, family, whatever, just being out in the woods by yourself. As a kid, I lived in an area where a lot of the kids went to day camp and they weren't around, so summers I spent a lot of time by myself, wandering through the woods, throwing stones in the brook. But I don't view those as lonely times. I view them as very peaceful and cool times. Maybe that's why I like fishing now and why I love being outside. I don't know. But the movie theater in our mind, again, can either serve us or hurt us, depending upon the movies we are choosing to watch. Now, the movie theater in our mind can also be Dan's messed up future, right? And if all you're doing is jumping back and forth between Dan's messed up past and Dan's messed up future, you're missing the fact that you can actually walk out of the movie theater altogether into what? Right now. And right now is the only thing that we really have control over. Well, that's not true. We do have a control over which memories we allow ourselves to visit often. We do have control over the type of script that we're writing for our future, right? We're the script writer, we're the main actor, and we're the director of this movie called life. And are you going to write a tragedy? Or are you going to write perhaps a love story, an adventure movie? Or, a common thread in movies is, somebody who's down on their luck and makes some changes and does some amazing things. Think of yourself as the script writer for your life, the lead actor and the director, and you get to direct what your future is going to look like. You get to create that movie in your head of your future. And so there's a huge element here that I want to point out, and that is choice. We have a choice as to whether or not we keep on going in and watching the horror movie called Dan's Messed Up Past, or if there's no movies from our past that are Dan's, wonderful past, some of the good things that have happened, if there's very little of that, we can literally choose to say, I'm not going back to movie theater 1. I'm not going to keep on going back and reviewing over and over and over again my screwed up past. I don't believe that helps us. I don't believe it'll help us get out of physical pain. I don't believe it helps us get out of mental pain. I believe that if you're going to focus on emotions, which is a core component of some of the things I teach and that Sarno teaches and some of the experts teach, feel your emotions, if you're going to do that, no sense in going back over and over and over again all of the horrific things that happen to us. Because the interesting thing about the memory and the way the brain works is when we review that memory, that movie, in our head of all the awful stuff that happened to us, what happens emotionally? Those emotions, they get charged up again, right? We can't think about being bullied as a kid and have positive emotions. It's like we're reliving that experience, because we literally are. As we recall a memory, we're literally reliving that experience in our brain, and along with it comes the emotions from that traumatic experience. But what you can do is choose not to revisit those memories all the time, or frankly at all. You look at some people who've had a horrible upbringing, and you go, how did they get past that? Choice. Hate to say it, but it is a choice. We need to choose to no longer visit those things that make us feel bad from our past, whether it be abusive parents, sexual abuse, traumas, bullying, an older brother who's just, sadistic and tortures you and picks on you. Those memories and watching those movies over and over and over in our head just keep us stuck as if we are still in that environment, in that situation, in those circumstances that were very traumatic. And again, I am not debating how traumatic some of our past lives were. But as you watch those movies over and over and over and over and over again, today, right now, you're literally choosing to stay in that past trauma. You're literally saying, I want to re-experience that again. Some of us have come to the conclusion that if I forget about that stuff, I'm going to open myself up for more of it. In other words, we believe that those past traumatic memories keep us safe today. No, the lesson from those memories keeps us safe. We don't need the electrical or emotional charge to keep us safe, right? So what are the movies that you're watching all day long? Are you watching Dan's past traumatic history? Dan's screwed up past? Dan's screwed up childhood? Or are you watching you know, Dan's screwed up future, this tragedy of pain and suffering, what movies are you watching? Because we do have a choice, you know, and it's really important to actually step out of the memories, step out of that anxious, fearful, imagined future, and look around and say, I'm actually pretty safe. Things are okay right now. Yeah, the world's pretty screwed up and a lot of weird shit happening these days, politically, locally, on the world stage. There's all sorts of stuff going on. And most of that, not all of it, most of that is outside of our control. So for the things that are within our control, such as our own thoughts, what we choose to do on a daily basis, what we choose to place our focus on a daily basis, let's start there, because you can't solve the world's problems if you can't get out of your own way and get out of your own traumatic memories. So the movie theater of the mind, I think, is a useful analogy to say, where am I choosing to place my thoughts and my attention all day long? Am I choosing to rehash and relive and re-experience emotionally everything bad that ever happened to me? Or am I choosing to live in this future imagined life of tragedy, suffering, and horrible pain? I don't know. I don't think either of those are useful. Now let's talk about doing the work, right? Sarno says think psychologically. There is a large percentage of this TMS community that tell us we've got to go back into our past, we've got to rehash it, we've got to feel it, we've got to go through those horrible traumatic times and get that poison out. And to a degree, I appreciate that and can understand that approach. At the same time, if you've done it 42 days in a row and you're just rehashing the same old stuff, you've probably gotten that poison out. If you're still in pain, that does not mean that you didn't get the poison out. That does not mean that there's some mysterious hidden emotion or situation or circumstance or past trauma that you have not uncovered yet. Perhaps it's the fact that for 42 days in a row, you've re-traumatized yourself. You've recreated those emotions every single day. And your brain is still interpreting that to mean you're still unsafe. You're still in danger. And it is still looking to protect you from those overwhelming, scary, and dangerous emotions. The other aspect of it is the mindset. Look, you may have done all of the emotional discovery work necessary to really recognize that this is a psychologically created pain disorder or symptom disorder. And you may have done great emotional discovery. But if you don't have the mindset right, if you are still way too focused on the symptoms, if you are still placing all of your mental energy and attention all day long on the symptoms and when's it going to go and watching the calendar and what's wrong, how come I haven't fixed this yet, and maybe I better go back and go through those past traumas again because I must have missed something, right? Maybe you didn't miss anything. Maybe you got everything, and only you know that. But if you really, truly feel like you've gotten the depth of the emotions out on paper or out of your mouth, or you've just truly allowed yourself to feel them, take a look at the mindset. Do you still care too much whether or not you have symptoms today? Look, I know long term we all want to get out of these symptoms and get rid of the pains. But if you're watching the calendar every day going, holy crap, I've been doing this for 28 days and I'm not better yet. I've been doing this for 47 days and I'm not better yet. And I keep a list of all my symptoms and I grade them every day and I monitor them every day. And, we can make this process of healing way too important. And I've said it over and over and over again. Feel your emotions. I like to focus on the right now emotions because past emotions are nothing more than a memory recreating the emotion, right? I don't believe past emotions exist. We have emotions right now about our past, and with that memory and recalling that past movie in our head, we can recreate those emotions. The past doesn't exist. So focus on the right now. We have emotions right now about our past, and we can recreate and relive those emotions over and over and over again by watching that movie in our movie theater of our mind over and over and over again. And I believe that doesn't really serve us much good. If you're rehashing the same stuff over and over and over again, I'm not convinced that emotional discovery is getting you anywhere. So try stopping that and then work towards the mindset of indifference, completely losing any care whatsoever of whether you're hurt today or how long it's going to take to get better and to have the pain or the symptoms abate. That, to me, is where a lot of the gold is. Yes, you want to think psychological. You want to focus on, well, if my pain just came back after 3 weeks of not being there, what's going on in my emotional world? But that's like right now stuff, right? What was going on 3 weeks ago? And where's my mindset been and my focus and my attention and fears going for the past 3 weeks? Oh yeah, I've gotten completely wrapped up in the pain again. So this isn't rocket science, guys. You do want to feel your emotions. You do want to soothe yourself to get yourself out of that agitated state from feeling the emotions. And then we really want to shift our attention to the mindset, which is living in the present, which is not caring 1 ounce about the symptoms or the pain. Because the more we care about it, the more we monitor them, the more we are desperately trying to fix ourselves and get rid of these freaking symptoms, the more the brain goes, I got it. That's the most important thing going on in your life now. I'm going to keep those things wired for you because that's where you're placing all your attention. So, the movie theater of your mind. Ask yourself, yesterday, what movies was I watching? Was I in the movie theater? Was I looking at the past crap? Was I looking at a future full of trauma and tragedy? Or was I actually living in the now? I've got a beautiful 60-degree day on January 12th. It's absolutely unbelievable. I'm just wearing a sweatshirt today. It's a little bit windy, and if it weren't windy, I could be out here in a t-shirt. So I'm living in the right now. I'm living in the right now with you guys and gals. I'm talking to you. I'm trying to get these messages through to you. This is my right now. I'm not wondering as I'm trying to shoot this video, well, I wonder how many views I'll get, and I wonder how many thumbs up I'll get, and I hope people like it, and where's this taking? Like, I'm not living in the future or the past and wondering about the outcome of this video. I'm literally just talking to you guys and trying to get some of these messages out of my mouth and into your head. So ask yourself, what movies are you watching in the movie theater of your head? And we can choose to become the screenwriter, the main actor, and the director of a movie of our future. And it's a movie we can fall in love with. So if you're going to spend time in the movie theater of your mind, spend it on that future heroic, story, from tragedy to victory, right? Start to create that script in your mind, and if you're going to go to the movie theater, that's a great one to watch. And if you're going to look backwards, see if you can remember some of the good times that you had growing up. A lot of us have had a horrible, difficult, challenging upbringing, but you can probably find a couple of positive things as well. And if you can't, choose to stop going back to those horror movies called, my messed up past. They don't serve us. Does this stuff make sense? Does it help you to understand that we actually have a choice to actually leave the movie theater altogether and just pretty much pay attention to what's going on right now? I hope it does. Let me know what you think. Please comment below, and we'll see you guys and gals in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.